Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Trash Talk. I'm here with a very, very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, what's going on? My name is Irish Coffee.
And jumping straight into it, obviously, when doing my research for this episode, I, of course, first looked at your most popular upload. For people that don't know, it was quite a serious situation that you covered that actually blew up for you. Would you just like to go over what you covered?
Yeah, so a couple, I'd say probably about a month and a half, not a month, definitely over a month. More a couple of months ago. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. One of the more famous animators on YouTube by the name of Hyojin, who has kind of made themselves famous not because of their animations, but because of their connections to people like Pyrocynical in the
Mm.
commentary community, was actually accused and admitted to being both verbally and physically abusive towards their partner at the time. These accusations were from, uh, I believe, the relationship even had been over, a couple of maybe even 2 years old.
Hmm.
I think dating back before any relationship they had, not way before they had any relationship to Pyro, but at least from what I could tell, they'd been dating, I'd say dating together for a while. But I, I think it had ended quite a bit ago, a long, long before the accusations had come out. But this individual came forward and basically kind of gave their experience, and it was a lot of serious stories about Hyojin kind of coming up, and they would disagree on something, and how the victim would, kind of be very reasonable about it. They may, come from a unreasonable point, but they come at it at a reasonable way. And Hyojin would just absolutely flip the fuck out and just fucking start yelling and screaming
Mm.
and saying things about him, saying things to him. And then at even times they would, they'd hit him. And
Mm.
it was a fucking mess. And I really all I had wanted to cover was, just the kind of the basic side of, and this is kind of what I try to do with a lot of my videos, but cover the basic side of like
Hmm.
what is being put out there, what are my thoughts, and what we should do moving forward. And one of the things that I put in my video that I actually don't think a whole lot of people came into the approach with, and I had a lot of people commenting me like, "Wow, this was actually really insightful and interesting." And I think this is a very very fair point that you're making. Was I had come in and said that maybe we, instead of like jumping the gun and going at Hyojin, we should wait and see what wait and make sure these accusations are correct
Hmm.
before we start saying things about Hyojin. In my case, or in the case of Hyojin, it was true.
Yeah.
The accusations were true, but the reason I wanted to do that is because for everything that Hyojin had been through with the commentary community and why they were so disliked by so many people in the commentary community, it was because they had come out when other people were accused of things and were just super like Slazo, for example. They were super
Hmm.
like, you should kill yourself, Slazo. Like, you're the worst person to ever. Like, it was they were awful. They were one of the worst people around the situation.
Yeah.
And the response from the community was negative towards not Slazo, but Hyojin, especially when it came out that Hyojin and I'm Alex and these people were manipulating the Slazo situation.
Hmm.
Um, and so it kind of was more of like a let's take the moral high ground and don't even what makes you better by going at Hyojin, and then let's say on the off chance these claims are false.
Yeah.
What makes you different from Hyojin was kind of my
Hmm.
mindset through that. Even if it is true, it's better to let the claims and substantial evidence fully come through
Yeah.
than rather than just like instantly like fuck you, you piece of shit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I 100% agree with that because, like, in any case where there's allegations and accusations being thrown about, I think it's very, like, you have to be very careful to sort of come out and say that like these are only just allegations and accusations and they could be false, because you don't want to say something is and actually has happened when in reality it possibly hasn't.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. I mean, that is a hole that sadly many people in the commentary community dive down, and I've
Hmm.
tried to stray away from that. I feel like sometimes I do by accident, but that's normally the road that I don't want to take because that road, in my opinion, leads to nowhere but bad things.
Yeah.
And I would much rather simply stay the path of, here's what we know. Let's go with that.
Hmm.
Here's some things that I've heard, but for the most part, this is what we're going with.
Yeah.
Kind of I think bringing up, sometimes people say, why would you even bring up like a rumor? I think sometimes bringing up a rumor is not a bad thing because sometimes planting that idea out there and sowing the belief and saying like this is not completely out of the deck of cards is not a bad thing because it gives your audience something to want to watch more of. Like,
Hmm.
they're going to be waiting and they're probably going to want to subscribe to you to see if more stuff comes out. And then B, it allows people to kind of go out and express their own or form their own opinion because some people will say, I disagree with that or I agree with that. And you can kind of start going out and finding evidence and building your own opinion, just putting out little ideas like that. Not, but just saying like this is what some people believe and this is what other people. Just kind of that, like saying like this is what we've heard can go a long way, in my opinion.
Hmm. No, no, I completely agree. I think, especially in commentary as a whole, my main issue with commentary at the moment, I've been very open and public about this, is the fact that when like one person gets an idea in their head, they will run with it regardless of any evidence or if it's just allegations or accusations. I think one situation that I think highlights this like way clearer than any other situation is the dream stuff. I don't know if you've seen all the like allegations and stuff like
Yeah,
recently. Like people would take the narrative and run with it. Like
yeah.
I made my own video talking about it, but it was just me going through the evidence and then asking people what they thought about it, rather than like what some commentary people are doing and basically just been calling him a paedophile.
Yeah, and that I made a second channel video on it, just kind of like grazing over it. I
Hmm.
didn't do a whole lot of research into it, but it kind of made me mad because you see so much of this kind of thing, like where people just instantly hop on someone. Like I used in the video because I've talked with my friends about it, and this is what I saw very similar to it. I used the Call Me Carson situation like this one
Hmm.
in the sense of like there is a gray area in the sense of yes, Dream did send these messages. Yes, Dream was being weird with his fans. That is
Yeah.
all true. And the Carson thing is a little bit more different than this one in my opinion, but I just use that as a baseline. But we'll just stick with Dream because the Carson thing is years old.
Hmm.
Um, but Dream sent these messages. He did all that. He did not send a picture of his dick. From the messages I read, it doesn't sound like he's grooming anybody,
Yeah.
and he's definitely not sexting. So there is that line. He's not being the most innocent person in the world, but he's not being a pedophile. That's
Hmm.
what a lot of people are calling him, and he's
Yeah.
just not that. That's just not what he is.
For me personally, I just feel like he's not a pedophile. He's not like this like wrong and whatever. He's just a bit weird for interacting with his fans in that way. I feel more than anything. I think that's what people should be calling him out for, rather than calling him out for
Oh
being an
yeah,
alleged pedophile.
no, I 100% agree with you on that. And I kind of said that I was, when talking about with some people, I was like, he is more of just a fucking weirdo than he is a pedophile. Now, can we make
Yeah.
fun of him and call him out for like that and like how he simped a fuck ton for his fans? Yeah, that is totally on the table. I am 100% fine to make fun of him, especially after the face reveal shit, and
Hmm.
everybody made fun of him for that. It's very easy to keep riding on the train of, and then look at this, and like all the, I mean, because here's what I said when I looked at it. You knew some shit was going to come out with the fans eventually. You just
Yeah.
knew it was going to happen. The way that he interacted with his fans on Twitter, the way he interacted with them on YouTube at times, you just knew something was going to happen. So the fact that people were so surprised by this kind of annoyed me a little bit. But
Hmm.
then the lengths that people took it just because they hate Dream. I don't like Dream. Honestly, I think Dream is one of the worst content, not worst, but he is one of the most useless content creators on the platform. He
Yeah.
offers nothing. He does not, and this sounds awful, but like he does not deserve the sub count he has. He doesn't deserve the clout he gets, in my opinion.
Hmm.
That probably sounds bad. I know he works his ass off, but he doesn't because his content just simply isn't that good. But that being said, he still has it. He's still
Hmm.
where he is. And people try to take that away from him. And in my opinion, that is just stupid because even though he probably shouldn't have it, he still is there. And you just calling him a pedophile without any real proof to like try to take that platform away is just wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's cancel culture at its best there because I completely agree with you. Like Dream, I don't like Dream. I've never liked his content. I watched a few of his videos, could never really get into it. Never understood why he blew up. But at the same time, just because I don't like his content doesn't mean that I'm gonna go out and tweet him like saying, "Oh yeah, he's a paedophile. He's like touched me or he's touched me there." Like I just do not get that mentality of if you dislike someone, you go and get into like this whole scandal with them. And I think that sort of ties into my next question loosely. And something that I ask everyone that comes on the podcast is basically if you could call out one person, it doesn't matter if they have one subscriber or 100 million subscribers, who would you call out and why?
Oh, there's a lot of people, probably in particular.
Hmm.
I would say I kind of want to go with an unorthodox one here that a lot of people wouldn't call out, and that I would want to call out simply because I just don't know if this is the guy I want to go with.
You can say multiple, by the way. You
I
like
can say
if you've
multiple.
got multiple ideas, then
Uh,
like feel free to like talk about them.
okay, so I'll do two. I'll do two good ones. So the first one I want to talk about is this one. I'll actually save this one for the end because this guy technically doesn't have any more subscribers because he got banned. But I still want to call this person out, and then more of calling out the people that are so like fucking like not leech, but like think he's a god.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think of another good one. Um, I'll say Ethan Klein. I made a video on him and it did really well, but I still fucking hate him. Ethan Klein and Hassan Piker because they're kind of the same person. I'll do Hassan actually since I've already made an Ethan video and it's kind of like touching on everything about Ethan.
Hmm.
I'll do Hassan. Hassan is just he's such a phony. The guy goes around and he preaches this super like I'm this left leaning like fucking people's man. Like he just goes out and preaches this fucking fake ass whole like model and like self views and shit like that. And he tries to make himself look like he's the best person ever. He's not. And I know this isn't a news flash to people,
Hmm.
but Hassan is like an actual piece of shit. The dude is like one of the worst. He treats people like trash. Okay, he straight up lies to people. He goes out and he'll talk about like, oh my god, I hate Jeff Bezos and I hate capitalism. I hate all that. He literally works for a company owned by Amazon. All right, he makes more than half of his money because of Amazon and Twitch
Hmm.
Prime. He makes so much of his money by people giving him money. And then what does he go and do with it? He goes and buys a fucking mansion. And he says, oh, it's for my mom. It's for my mom. Shut the fuck up, dude. Fusi did the exact same thing. Fusi,
Yeah.
and then it wasn't. It was for him. You know,
Hmm.
this dude is such an egotistical fuckboy. And he gets away with what he says because he runs around with a crew of just absolute fucking idiots. And
What? Yeah.
Hassan is stupid, but he's not so stupid. He's not as stupid as the people that he's around. And that's why he's able to one up so many of these people, in my opinion.
Like I feel with Hassan, like obviously he's been quite involved with like a lot of the recent Twitch drama that happened, like in September, I believe, September October
Yeah.
time. And to be honest, I don't like him either. And to be honest, I feel like it's a bit the same with the Dream thing. I don't see the appeal in the content, and I don't see why someone like that has like blown up and got this platform. And it's sort of just irritating. Like, not saying that we should take their platform away at all, because cancel culture in that respect is very toxic. But I don't understand why someone like that should get a platform, whereas someone who would like edit for hours and stuff doesn't get a
Oh, I
platform.
agree. I agree. And it is like people give him so much credit and he does nothing. I mean,
Mm.
he streams for 8 hours a day. I get that. That is very tiring. He sits there, he eats food and watches the news. Okay. Look, I'm actually not I don't have a problem with like the guys that watch MasterChef. I know a lot of people do. I really don't, because they're going and watching YouTube re-uploads of these, it's like, okay, that in my opinion is kind of some of the stuff they're watching, definitely no, but like the MasterChef thing, like I didn't have nearly a problem with, but
Hmm.
no, like Hassan does absolutely nothing at all, and then he'll go out and he'll speak on this moral high ground and be like, I'm trying to fucking fight for the people's revolution. I'm gonna help the people take over and fight for their rights. Meanwhile, he's making fucking millions of dollars a year. He doesn't give shit away. He spends it on stupid ass clothes. And then come to find out, you were talking about the Twitch drama. I know this chick vindicated him. There is
Hmm.
no way he had not heard about what had happened.
Yeah.
Now, did he know all the details? No. Was he the person, was he right there in the middle of it? No. I don't think he was. But to go out and say, "Oh, I had no idea. I'd never heard of this." Complete bullshit.
Hmm.
Everybody in that sphere, because they all hung out with each other, they all know. Everybody knows that shit. So I just he's just a scumbag, dude. He's such a. I need to make a video on him one day. I haven't fucking made a video for him, but I need to
Hmm.
make a video on him. He's just an absolute scumbag.
Oh no, I completely agree, and I think like just briefly mentioning like the Twitch scene and stuff. I think like there's a common theme with Twitch at the moment, just like absolute scumbags and people that don't really add to the content they're watching or add to content in general. Like we're seeing a lot of people recently, like Minx, that's under fire for basically just being a bit of a bad streamer, just a bit of a bitch. Like there's a lot of streamers recently that are being called out, and obviously like the Twitch drama is something that's still going on, still controversial, still like on the head of like Twitter and stuff. And to be honest, I think a lot of Twitch streamers, their issue is they're just way too arrogant.
Oh, for sure, for sure. They think because they have this platform that they know everything, and the
Mm.
minute somebody goes at them, their reaction to this shit is just the worst. They all have the worst responses, and maybe it's because they're all like idiots.
Hmm.
They have the worst responses to everything, and it is so funny in my opinion.
Oh yeah, like I think with like the Twitch dramas and watching like a Twitch streamer especially being cancelled or saying something that they really shouldn't or taking the moral high ground and getting it wrong, is the fact that it is happening live and it's very dramatized. So it's great. And to be honest, like I don't ever prey on someone's downfall, like unless it's like some really small commentator who's done something really horrible. Like I do not prey on people's downfall. But watching a Twitch streamer's downfall, it feels so great to watch live. Like it's a completely different experience.
Oh, it's hilarious because just the way that they handle it, and they're like so like mentally just fucking mush, and
Yeah.
they have no common sense or brain power to just shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just shut the fuck up, stop talking, and address it and move on. And they can't
Yeah.
do it. They cannot do it, and it is hilarious in my opinion.
Yeah, like I completely agree with you. I think any downfall on YouTube can be very interesting, and like as long as you're not going out there and like counseling them for like some bullshit reason, then I can think it's completely fine to laugh at someone's downfall regardless. And I think this question sort of ties in with like the whole theme of like drama and stuff of this episode, and that's obviously because you're a commentator, you upload like commentary style videos. Has anyone ever called you out, and have you ever been in drama with like a content creator?
So I've actually fortunately never been called out.
Hmm.
I've never really been in any big drama. I've only had my channel around for a little bit. The biggest drama I actually had, and I won't. I actually don't want to go too much into it, only because we've kind of talked. I mean, I don't think he has a problem with me talking about it. We've kind of
Hmm.
settled it. But it was just some kind of a little like mini thing that me and Janky Shining had.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if you have. I don't know if you've ever done an interview with like Flavio or Uni or guys like that.
Hmm.
But a while back, kind of when I was starting to make my way, actually like right as I made my Hyojin video, I think like a day or two after, we were sitting in calls like me or we were sitting in chat. I think I had just gotten back from work, and it was me, Uni, Shining, and Flavio, and then Quack,
Hmm.
and we're all just kind of messaging back and forth. And at the time, I actually hadn't known that some of the Augie RFC crew had decided that they wanted to make a Minecraft SMP. I had no idea that they had wanted to do that.
Hmm.
So that the reason I bring that up is because Quack had seen that. I had no clue that this was even on people's minds. Quack comes in and is like, "Guys, let's make a Minecraft SMP," and I'm like, "Fuck it, let's make one." And
Yeah.
so the SMP kind of, we started off. It was scuffed as hell. We literally like the day we thought of it, we fucking end up, or like 2 days after we thought of it, we end up making it.
Hmm.
It was scuffed. It was honestly awful, but it was kind of funny for the few minutes it went by because it was really a lot of like the smaller commentary people and a lot of the Spurgs tried getting in because people were sending invites and stuff like that. There were really no ground rules. It had turned into a mess. Um, and I had a hard time moderating it. It really only lasted about a week. I was the one that had paid for it. I was moderating it. I was going to split it between me and Flavia, or not Flavia, me and Quack.
Hmm.
And I'd given mod to both Flavio and Shining. And Flavio wasn't able to be on all day. I wasn't able to be on all the time because I had work, and like back in the summer I was working horrible hours, but I was getting paid really well for it.
Hmm.
Um, and so I would like be at work, and every now and then I'd check my phone, and I'd be getting a bunch of Discord messages, and it would be about how like people are shit would just go wrong on the server. So oh, this guy's cheating. Oh, these guys are blowing up my base. These guys are griefing. These
Yeah.
guys are doing this. It turned into a fucking mess. And meanwhile, I know Shining's online. He's like, oh, I got it, and he's not doing shit.
Hmm.
Uh, so well, eventually I'm just like, fuck it, dude. I took his mod away, and Flavio still got his mod, and I decided to give the Shining mod to somebody else I trusted that was on the server.
Hmm.
And Shining just kind of went off, and he was like, not went off, but he just got really pissed off, and like for I think like 3 days straight, like he would like DM me and be like, yo, dude, like, can you give me mod? Give me mod. Give me mod. Give
Hmm.
me mod. Like he for like days, and I'm like, no, I have people to handle it. But people are griefing. People are trolling. That you could solve this by giving me mod. No, dude, I'm not doing that. You have
Yeah.
caused way too many problems. You and Quack crashed the server. I forgot about that. They crashed the server on like the first day. Like,
Oh fuck,
I'm
man.
not, I'm not doing this. And so eventually he stops messaging me.
Hmm.
About a day after he stopped, I actually was off work because it had rained, fortunately. And Flavio calls me and he's like, dude, I just got a message from Quack. Or no, I think actually Quack reached out to me first.
Yeah.
And then Flavia had said I had heard something, but Shining was going around and actually messaging people, and saying like, "Hey, dude, like, can you go and troll the fucking server and like try to destroy it and get people to leave?
Oh
That
man.
way, he gives me mod, and I can come in and like try to fix everything." And people were like, "Nah, I think I'm good."
Hmm.
And I mean, it ended up. I was just kind of like, "Wow, that's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?" I tried saying something to Shining. He didn't want to do it. We actually we stopped talking for a little bit. I reached out. I think he actually reached out to me or something. Um,
Hmm.
Probably a month or so ago. And we were like in a group chat and we were in V. And everything was fine. You know, we kind of cleared the air before that.
Yeah.
It's a Minecraft server to me. I'm not gonna hold a fucking grudge against him.
Yeah.
I will say I don't because I'm not too like after that moment I kind of not fell out, but like I was like I'm not gonna talk to a whole bunch of like fucking spurgs like
Hmm.
people that are in the that got invited to the server because I hadn't really known a whole lot of people going into it, and I
Yeah.
came out of it saying I don't know if I want to know all these people. And so it kind of was a positive experience, positive life for me. Like I knew who I wanted to talk to, I knew who I wanted to associate myself with. Um, Shining, I think actually was kind of there was like a whole drama with him going on in the background that I actually had no idea about. Uni and him won't talk about it because I've
Hmm.
tried asking Uni before and he's like, "No, dude, I won't talk about it. Like I can't." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. I'm just trying to get like what the fuck happened."
Yeah.
And all it'll be like is like it wasn't good. That's all I can say.
Hmm.
Um, but no, I mean for the most part, that's probably the biggest drama that I've had. I talk shit to a lot of people, but I really don't get a whole lot of people um like going after me. Fortunately, because I don't really come from like a stupid ass standpoint.
Yeah.
I never try to attack people. I don't even try to attack people. I'll just more make fun of people.
Hmm.
Um, but like most of the time, like I try to stay off of Twitter. I've been off of honestly all of social media a lot recently, and the big reason why has been because of school. But the other reason why is because I've just kind of fallen out of motivation to an extent. That's why there's not a whole lot to talk about either, in my opinion. There
Hmm.
hasn't been a whole lot of stuff going on. And so I'm thinking about possibly transitioning my format of video um, to kind of longer, like essay style videos. But at the same time, too, I know that takes a lot longer to put out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, something that like to round off the podcast with is like I completely agree with you. Like, being like a commentator at the moment, like a commentator at the moment, is hard because there isn't topics that stuff's happening and stuff. And from like my experience, obviously, I've done long form content, I've done lots of short form content, and I guess it is about switching over to that. And I think the common sentiment at the, like this, like going through the commentary community at the moment, is the fact that the small commentary community is sort of dead. Uh, would you agree with that statement
no,
of it
I would
being dead?
100% agree with that. If you kind of and how I judge it is by the not just the amount but the level of content being put out.
Hmm.
A lot of these really kind of like up and coming guys, even smaller than like myself and Shining and Uni and guys like that, are just some of the worst creators I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
Um,
there's a
and so,
lot.
and so what you have is this like big drop off of them of not even like the quality of content, but B, the reason I'm not making videos and why I know a lot of people like to say they're busy too, but from kind of what I've seen, a reason like people like Uni isn't making a video or aren't
Mm.
putting out videos constantly is because again, there's just nothing to talk about. There's been no drama, and I don't know about you, but like for me, I'm not the kind of guy that wants to go out and talk about the latest Keffels drama or talk
Yeah.
about the latest I don't know I'm trying to think of a good one. Um, the latest, who's the one that they always love to go after? Oh shit. There's one that they love to go after all the time. Um,
Let's use Jaden or Jalen for an example.
yeah, we'll use or no, Def Noodles. Def Noodles is the
Yeah,
one they
Death
always love to
Noodles.
go
Yeah.
after. I don't want to make a video or a new video every time the newest Taylor Swift or not Taylor. God, why did I say Taylor Swift? That was on my fucking feed. I'm sorry. Def Noodles or yeah, I will just say Def Noodles. The latest Def Noodles fuck up happens. That's
Yeah.
not my goal in life. I'm not trying to make my channel and build a platform off of making fun of. And honestly, like I know you said I can say this word, so I'll say a retarded person. I'm not trying to make a
Hmm.
living off of a retarded person going
Yeah.
around looking like a fucking idiot because and like I have respect for Salvo Pancakes like early on. I've lost a lot of respect for him because he's kind of become that guy. The very same person that he was not that he made fun of forever is the very same person he is now. And I know that happens with a lot of people, but
Hmm.
for me, that's not what I think you should do. And it seems like he has kind of done that. But everyone loves up video. Oh my god, Keffels finally admits to this, and it's like
Yeah.
this super like Augie does it, Bo Blacks does it. They all do it
Hmm.
and it just gets super repetitive and I can't watch it and I would rather move on and talk about something much bigger and like in a time where like I know John Swan is a horse that everyone's hopped on, but like if John Swan comes out and like makes like is revealed to be like scamming people or something, I want to make a
Yeah.
video on that because that's news in my opinion.
Oh
Not
yeah. Yeah.
not Def Noodles hosts a shitty fucking concert. Or I don't know. Like I miss the days when we could go back when we had that, and we don't have that anymore, in my opinion.
Hmm. Oh no, no, I completely agree with you, and I think the issue with commentary and the small commentator community at the moment is not only the topics. Like you see these reused like topics about like Jalen, like obviously you mentioned about Def Noodles, and obviously even Salvo now. And I think the issue I'm gonna like touch on Salvo very briefly is I've recently been in a bit of like backwards and forwards with Salvo in Twitter DMs, in YouTube comments, over tweets and stuff. And to be honest, like I think Salvo's fallen into that trap of becoming too arrogant, which isn't exactly like I don't hate Salvo by any means or stretch of the imagination. But I think for commentary at the moment, you need someone who isn't as arrogant and like the smaller commentators who are like 400 subscribers who are like very, very arrogant in their content and the way they act. And I feel like content creators like uni not uploading, it's what's like, of course, like the topics and stuff, but like content creators that are good, like uni and stuff, not uploading, is sort of just letting these smaller commentators who have no idea what they're doing take over like commentary as a whole.
Oh no, I agree. I 100% agree with you. And it kind of goes to where I'm like, these people don't really understand like these bigger commentators. It's we're in this weird space. I need to kind of like wrap my point up instead of speaking in five different places. So you kind of have two sides of the argument. You have one side of like, you know, these big commentators need to kind of help out some of these smaller commentators and kind of give them that push because the big guys that are kind of doing nothing but like clogging up the wheels and keeping it from moving forward.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, the big guys, and I get it, don't really want to help out the smaller guy because the smaller guy is just so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like I've said many a time, like I don't blame Augie for not wanting to help out like a channel like mine.
Hmm.
I know I'm not like some of the spurgy retards in the community. Like, let's just fucking throw out names like Malay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
but I also get the thing where it's like there is like they need to help people out, yes, but like I get it. Like there's so many, especially like when you think about they supported a smaller guy who became really big. Turns out the dude lied to him twice, and is now making who the fuck knows what John's making videos on. So I get it. I get where they're coming from. At the same time though too, there needs to be like a resurgence, almost kind of what you were
Yeah.
saying, because we're just gonna sit here, going mudding up the wheels and not really getting anywhere, and
Hmm.
that's not good for commentary, in my opinion.
Oh no, like 100%. And I think, like, to expand on your point as well, I think there's also a stigma around smaller commentators. Like, for example, like I'm not small by any imaginations. I've just hit 16,000, and I'm like not complaining by anything. But when trying to get guests on for Trash Talk, I don't even bother reaching out to like the bigger guys anymore, because regardless of like my higher sub count, I know they won't respond. And of course, like that's due to like other like spurgy like accounts like Malay and stuff like we previously mentioned. But at the same time, trying to make content and trying to like sort of revive commentary and get that wheel turning, and then just like completely blatantly ignoring or doing whatever is very frustrating. A thing that I will mention, like I've never mentioned this publicly because I didn't want to create any hassle, but I think it's good in this sort of example is, do you know who Aiden Projects is?
Yeah, yeah, I know Aiden.
Yeah. Well, I originally, like when TrashTalk was starting to like get off the ground, I DM'd him asking if he would like to come on the podcast, which was a long shot. Like I knew that, and obviously, yeah, actually he said yes. We set a time, and he was going to join the server, and then just never did.
That
So like
so
I don't have a positive experience with bigger content
yeah,
creators in that sort of
yeah,
way. Like of course, like I'm not like holding a grudge against him. But like when you see that the guy who said yes, like literally said, "Oh yes, send me like an invite to Discord," and then decided to listen to Spotify instead, like instead of like coming on for like 20 minutes or so.
yeah.
I just think,
I get that for sure. I mean,
yeah,
and that is, I feel like a lot of them kind of operate that way. Aiden definitely, in my opinion, does that more than some of the others.
hmm,
Aiden's kind of a fucking idiot, and I'm not the biggest Aiden fan. A lot of people I know are. I'm just not. I say I'm not a fan of Aiden. I'm a fan of Aiden. I love his videos. When he would stream, I watched a lot of his streams.
yeah,
I have a lot of respect for the guy. The dude just does and says some very stupid shit from time to
yeah,
time.
like
But that does not
yeah,
surprise me. That experience that you had with Aiden, because I've heard many people, and not just I like I said, like not just Aiden, a lot of people, and I've had some good experiences with bigger creators as well. But
mm.
it's like, for the most part, you kind of see them fall into that pattern. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%. And like another guy, like again, like this guy, a very nice guy. Like a lot of my commentator friends, like before, like I sort of had a surgeons up. Like knew this guy before he also had a blow up. And this is Vesh Remy. I don't know if not Vesh Remy, Vince. Do you know who Vince is? Like the shorts guy.
I don't think I do.
Well, he posted loads of those jelly bean shorts, like right at the beginning of all that stuff.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I know who
Yeah.
you're talking about.
And like sort of as well, he fell into the same category as Aiden of saying yes to the podcast, saying here, check it out, and then just never getting back. And I think the bigger issue with commentary at the moment is the fact that like even though like commentary as a whole, like the genre is massive, like there's all sort of different sections and stuff, but the smaller commentary community as a whole, like even though the sub gap may be so small, they're so arrogant, and like it's not like a critique on their character. I think it's just the fact that when you sort of get that bit of success, especially as a commentator, I think it sort of goes straight to your head in the fact that like even though you've been there like maybe a month beforehand, you're now that big guy in the community. So it's sort of just like when trying to like progress the commentary community, it's hard. I think it's really hard now because you don't have content creators like toxic distress like around hanging around like doing stuff. You don't have like uni as much anymore. Like there's
Yeah.
content creators that would keep the wheel spinning, and it's just not happening anymore.
No, I definitely, I think there's been just a fall off in the people that were kind of looked at as the guys that were going to move that wheel and that peg, and they just
Mm.
have not done it. And I think a lot of that is I actually don't really know why. For Uni, he tells me because I still talk with Uni a lot. Uni and I are pretty
Mhm.
close. And he tells me that he's, busy with school, and I believe he's busy with school, but I also think he's kind of lost his motivation to an extent. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
blame him. That's just kind of a thing that you deal with. But I would say too, that some of these other people, I feel like I feel like they kind of do fall into that sphere of like just they've lost the motivation and care, and that's the sad thing about it, in my opinion, because it's like they can do so much good, but they just don't have the effort or care for it. And I mean, I don't blame them.
Hmm. Like, no,
I
I
don't blame
completely
them at
agree.
all.
Like the last thing I'll mention before like we end the podcast is like we don't have those big content creators. Like if you went back a few months ago, like the people you'd list off is like Grimsy, like Lieutenant Beast, like Uni. You'd list off all of them sort of people,
Yeah,
like Toxic and all that. Whereas now you sort of don't have that. Like you have like the bigger content creators, like to my mind, like Scorpy comes to mind. Like Rooms is still hanging around, like Shining and stuff. But you don't have those standouts anymore where you immediately associate with them commentary. And I'm not even counting like RRFC, like at all. Like I just do not think like he sort of fits the category anymore. And it is just depressing because you've got all these smaller commentators and like these ones. I'm not saying these are bad by any means. I don't want to get in drama with them. Like Toad, Malay. You've got all these smaller ones running the community instead of like people that have been doing it for longer.
yeah. No, I yeah, no, you're preaching, man. You're preaching. I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just like getting this all off my chest. Like
No, you're
I
fine. No,
haven't
you're
really
fine.
spoken about this.
You're fine. Like I couldn't. I agree with you, man. Like I
Like
don't think you're saying anything wrong.
with all this, like I think as well, like there's a line for me when like, I'm coming to say all this stuff, and like I don't usually say stuff about commentary because at the moment I'm sort of viewed as like the podcast nice guy who like lets everyone talk about their stories and shares their stuff. So I don't always like to give like the hard like cold truth of all this sort of stuff. But it's so blatantly obvious that like a lot of the big commentary guys have just given the fuck up, and that like I don't blame them, especially in like the way commentary is at the moment, like at all. Like, if you want to quit, you quit. Like that's in your right to do so. But like they're leaving commentary to the people that have no idea how commentary is and who have just based their whole identity around Leafy.
Yeah, no, I mean that is, and that's one of the people too that I like just can't stand.
Hmm.
But I no that whole like, and it's because so many people obsess over Leafy too. That's the from what I can tell, that seems to be the
Yeah.
biggest problem, and it is just so like, why not move on and do your own thing? You know what I
Oh
mean?
no, 100%. Like, I think that like I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for saying is Leafy's very overrated, and his content when he was making it
Yes.
is not good. Like by any stretch of the imagination, if you compare it to videos that have been produced now, it's very, very average. Like there is nothing special there. Anyone could have made that content. It's just the fact he blew up first from it.
No, I mean I agree with you, and I've kind of come from that standpoint for a while, the same
Mm.
mindset for a long time now, because I just don't I don't think that it's moving in the right direction to consistently obsess over a guy that doesn't even make videos anymore. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? And a guy that doesn't want to be on the platform anymore, a guy that was honestly never a positive thing for YouTube. Yes, he helped start commentary or helped jumpstart commentary, but he was never a positive thing for YouTube. All he
Hmm.
did was make shitty ass videos and start fucking drama.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he got fucking beat down by A, the algorithm, and B, a video making fun of his chin. Um,
Yeah. Like we're not setting our bar very high for commentary when we're basing off everything like around a guy that cried and disappeared for years because someone said he has no chin.
Exactly. No, I mean, I don't know what the obsession with him is, and so many people, too, so many of these new, they're like the style that they make is just like so
Mm.
Leafy centric, man.
Like to me, like, and now this will be the very last thing. I keep like stretching out this podcast, but like, I think like something that's like very blatantly obvious is the fact that there's like about 60% of commentary that is just all sucking off Leafy's like so-called legacy and exaggerate it to the point where it's just not the truth anymore. Like, look, don't get me wrong. Like when Leafy's content was being made, I did enjoy it, but looking back at it, like it was nothing special, and I don't get why people are taking it to this level. Like, of course, you can like his content. Like, I guess that's all subjective, but like to the level where there's like hundreds of guys in commentary that are basing their whole personality around Leafy, it sort of just gets tiring. And like, I don't know why they expect their commentary to career or commentary in general to go any further.
Oh no, I mean it is such a it's just such a repetitive cycle, and it gets people nowhere. I can't stand it. I personally I can't stand it, and I am all for moving on from it and kind of pushing that kind of mindset out.
Yeah, 100%. Like I feel like to end off the podcast, I feel like commentary needs to start moving forward, and like well, I'm not saying we need loads of drama, we need no Leafy like accounts or whatever. But I think what I am saying is the fact we do need that bit of spice, and we do need that less extra like generic content that is just Leafy content repackaged.
Oh no, it's so apologies. I didn't expect to yawn there.
Yeah,
No,
no.
it's so like ridiculously and his I need to stop talking about Leafy, and it's more of we need to, I think, move forward, and I think people need to start experimenting with their own kind of I'll say this too. I think a lot of people are we're gonna have a lot of people like this that are still making these Leafy videos, but I also think a lot of people are trying as well. It's just
Mhm.
so hard, it seems like, to make videos that are not related to a blown up topic, and B, that aren't super, pushed through the algorithm with the help of a guy like a Augie, a guy like a Keemstar, especially in the commentary sphere, because
Oh yeah.
commentary just has such a negative connotation now that it is so hard. Like I feel like there are people out there trying to change change the motive and direction of it, and it keeps going down that hole, and it's just so hard to do. But I mean, I think one day it'll happen. I just hope it's soon.
Yeah, 100%. Like, this will be the very last thing I'll say, and that's the fact that I think we need to look forward for commentary, because like I'm seeing a lot of the same like generic like 8 minute videos on these random guys, where realistically, like we sort of like as a like commentary as a whole. Like the shorts feature, for example, like I think this is a great example of how commentary is working at the moment. Is the fact commentary shorts are absolutely exploding everywhere, but people seem to just ignore it because it's like TikTok, which, to be honest, I don't really understand. Like, I think if it's there, you take full advantage of it. And then, like what you were saying about videos like having to be on trending topics to really do well, which is the case. Like, I'm looking at some of my most recent content, like full length videos, and the ones that have done really well are topics that are trending or have like trending names in it from the past like few months. So, like, I think commentary needs to really take advantage of the newer stuff rather than looking back at the old stuff.
No, I agree, and that's where I've tried kind of building my like stop looking in the past and moving forward,
Mm.
and focus on moving forward, and that's kind of where I've tried to try to. Jesus, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I've
it's all good.
tried to start making my platform more is like moving forward and focusing on more relevant topics.
Yeah.
Maybe looking at some stuff in the past a little bit, but using that as a metric before the stuff that we're seeing now. So
Oh yeah, 100%. And I do appreciate you coming on the podcast and like talking about all this stuff. Like, there's not many guests that really have like a similar opinion to this, which I think is sad that there's a lot of people that still believe like this Leafy style of content is the way to go forward. Because realistically, it's not. How many people get banned? So it's like great to hear someone that isn't like completely just copying everyone off Twitter. But yeah, like if people did enjoy today's episode, like of course your links will be all down in the description, so if you want to go and check him out, please go do so. But I've been your host Samuel, and I will catch you in the next episode of Trash Talk.